Well, Argentina made 5 changes going into this one. I mean, this really was do or die, wasn't it, for them? But they got the goals eventually. We'll see those in a moment. But they just couldn't get their rhythm in the first half. And there was nothing there, was there, in terms of creativity?
No, it's less from convincing when you think about the talk about Argentina before the tournament. The expectation is there, isn't it? It really has been. And after that first game, the changes had to be made.
They came in with a 36-match winning run. They were about to equal Italy's all-time best of 37. You know, most people had them or Brazil as their favourites.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone was talking about them. Fancy Argentina. It's been a while since they've turned up at this kind of tournament and really put their authority on it. And we haven't seen that, even though they've won tonight. A couple of really good goals. But the performance on the whole, I mean, it was such a scrappy game. Argentina certainly didn't put themselves head and shoulders above Mexico at all.
Of course it was Messi who pops up with the first goal. Overall, he had 2 touches in the boxes, one in each, one in either end, one in the Mexico box, one in his own box. Yeah. So, you know, this was not a goal that came from somebody who was being very industrious and involved in all the great attacking play. This was Messi just kind of grabbing a chance.
Yeah, certainly that was the goal. It was out of nowhere. A lot of loose balls, a lot of tackles, fiery atmosphere. And I think that it kind of took control of the game and it took it to that level. And players like Messi in that situation, I mean, he chips in, it's his country and he's passionate about it, but you don't see the best of him. And I think it was just one of those matches that Argentina had to win.
They just had to get through. And Mexico came with the point that they got against Poland. They've got this, I don't even know, they've got this quinto partido. They don't make it beyond the last 16 at the moment. It's not looking great for them to make it out the group, is it?
No.
They have no threat up front, really.
No, I mean, I saw their first game live. It was a decent performance, but it's toothless. They haven't got a goal scorer. You know, the out of form or the injury to Jimenez has been a real problem for them because he's such a presence in the box. They've got good wide players, Lozano especially, but they've got nobody in the box to get on the end of the crosses, and that's Jimenez's real quality. So it's a shame that he's not fully fit for them in this tournament. But, you know, they're so good to watch at times, and the supporters get right behind them. The atmosphere's good, the tempo of the game's good, but they've just not got a lot of cutting edge.
Going forwards now, Argentina, I mean, did you see enough? And this was a grudge match in many ways, and it's harder. It's a bit like, I suppose, when home nations play each other, isn't it? When you play a team you're more familiar with from your continent, perhaps, it's a little bit harder to judge where Argentina are. Do you see flashes of brilliance and flashes of a team that can really take this competition by the scruff of its neck?
No, I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen it in Argentina. I've just seen them almost surviving. It's almost like they've come into the tournament and it's just been like a bit of a weight on them. Perhaps the expectation going in isn't a healthy thing. It isn't a good thing. They certainly haven't got into the rhythm of being a controlling team that get a hold of a game and really dominate it and are comfortable. Both games have been difficult. Obviously the first one really difficult with a loss, even though in the first half they looked like they should have scored a lot more but didn't. And then they kind of regressed a little bit. And this one was a real local derby type feel, wasn't it, in terms of the atmosphere and the intensity of the game. So I'm not seeing a lot in Argentina yet to make me feel that they're going to go far. OK,
well, let's move on to the other game in this group. Poland arrived with a point after that opening match against Mexico, but no goals. They were going to need a lot more than that if they were going to get something from the giant slayers Saudi Arabia, who, of course, came here with 3 points, and knowing that a point would probably be enough to take them to an historic last 16 place. So here's how it looks in Group C. All 4 sides can still reach the knockout stages. Poland are in pole position and need a point against Argentina to qualify. Mexico must beat Saudi Arabia and hope the Poles can defeat Lionel Messi and co. All still to play for. You can watch both those matches live on the BBC on Wednesday. We've been talking about it since the last World Cup, but let's just get the elephant out of the room, out of the way. Robert Lewandowski finally gets his World Cup goal, having missed that penalty against Mexico. Yeah. I mean, that must be a great moment for him and, I guess, for the Poland football fans as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I was actually really pleased for him. The pressure of that penalty against Mexico, I could tell on his face that he was feeling it. And before he took it, I kind of called that I didn't feel like he was going to score, which is someone, you wouldn't say that about Robert Lewandowski, an absolute goal machine. So it'd been weighing on him, you could see that. So him to have that today and for Poland to win, I think it was a massive occasion for him.
The other really big moment was the save from Szczesny from the penalty, because at that point, and actually the stats will show, Saudi Arabia were all over this game. They were all over it in terms of chances, they were all over it in terms of possession, and that was quite early in the game to get a foothold into the game. Szczesny's save, probably the moment in the game, really.
I would agree. I think it's just as important as any of that. I mean, it was a double save as well.
And this group is wide open, really. Argentina have got to win to guarantee they're going through. Saudi Arabia have got it all in their own hands as well. It really is an exciting climax.
It's strange, and also, but I think the Saudis are actually the best performing team in the group. When I look at Saudi Arabia and think that their games are probably the most entertaining, most exciting, and they're actually playing at a good level. You know, they're actually maximising what they have. So the Saudis are in good shape.
Reigning champions France impressed in their opening match against Australia. A win, 4 goals and an eye-catching performance from Kylian Mbappe. Today they took on Denmark, and Steve Bauer was at Stadium 974. Well, France are the first team at this World Cup to make the knockout stages. They're also the first team since 2006 to be the reigning holders to make it through to the knockout stages, which is just incredible. And they've done this without a few of their big stars, Pogba, Kante, Benzema, and they've had more shots than anybody else, 44, and yet still you're not convinced by France.
No, I think they're missing them. I really do. And why wouldn't you? If you were going to be the perfect team or a top team without those, then you really have got some squad. And I think that while they have got some great players and they've had a good tournament so far, there's little elements of their game that, for me, the ugly side of the game and the concentration, the defending, the physicality, the second balls, the recovery runs, all those things about that make that team really strong and special, I don't think is quite as there. I don't think it's quite as firm as what you'd expect, and whether or not that will be found out further on in the tournament, we'll have to wait and see.
So they haven't faced the opposition yet that perhaps is going to pick holes in there?
I don't think so. They've obviously, Mbappe was brilliant today. He scared Denmark to death with his pace. It was unbelievable. So you've got your match winner there, and it's bringing them through, but there's elements of it that just aren't quite as solid as what you'd expect.
He's got 14 goals in 12 games for France. He's scored 4 already at this World Cup. And as you say, his pace...
He's just a nightmare to defend against. His change of direction, and then his quality's getting better all the time, his decision making. So that's all great, but the other side of it, the defending set plays, the organisation, the hard work in that middle of the park, I think is the one thing that you could see get exploited at some point.
Didier Deschamps.
Exactly, a Kante.
Denmark had a good game plan, didn't they? And it almost came off for them.
Yeah, I think so. I thought they played well. You know, they got back in the game. They didn't let their heads go down when they went 1 down. They had plenty of the ball. It was close. It wasn't a stroll for France, and it was Mbappe, that quality that he has, the pace that he has was the difference in the game.
You'd like to see him in the tournament, but you're not sure France are going to progress all the way?
I'm not too sure. I'm not convinced yet.
OK. One more to enjoy, and it was Tunisia against Australia, and at the Al Janoub, Vicky Sparks and Danny Murphy.
That, for him, I think is a real positive thing. I mean, the distraction that must give you from such a sad piece of news for you individually is important, but also the team will be there to support him too. So I think that just builds into that, being a stronger group together, and hopefully that will help.
It was only their second ever clean sheet in World Cup history. That could prove to be vital, couldn't it, you know, on the day of reckoning. And I think a special mention, therefore, to Suter, who was magnificent today. Yeah,
he was. I mean, the clean sheet was a collective thing. The team did well, they fought for each other. But I think him in particular, the way he defended and the manner that he did that was excellent. I mean,
now, there have been some good goals already in this tournament, but perhaps Mitchell Dukes will be one of those that features in the montages at the end. It deserves a second look, doesn't it? And deserves, I think, the credit it's going to get.
It does, because I love that it was an improvised goal.
Do you have a favourite goal so far?
My favourite goal so far, I wouldn't say I do, no.
No, but
there's been lots of good ones.
Make that yours then.
Yeah.
Today.
Okay, yeah. Let's do that.
It's been a long day, a lot of football. Thank you very much, Matthew. And